You alerted me, Kinsey, over the weekend to what I consider to be a very dubious report in one of the Sunday papers saying that Netflix, far from the reports we've been seeing that they've had it with Harry and Meghan, they're cancelling the contract. We've been seeing that they've had it with Harry and Meghan, they're cancelling.
In less than 48 hours, a bombshell revelation about Meghan Markle is set to destroy the carefully crafted image she's been building since leaving the royal family. For months, the Duchess of Sussex has been playing the victim card, manipulating public opinion while hiding a web of lies that goes deeper than anyone imagined. Leaked documents from Netflix executives have revealed a pattern of behavior that goes back years, showing a side of Meghan's personality that's completely different from what she presents to the cameras.
Or Meghan. Well, I would ask to that story, why? Why would they be doing this? She's failed at every turn. On the same day,
Meghan Markle thought she had it all figured out when she signed that multi-million-dollar Netflix deal back in 2020. The former royal was finally free from the constraints of palace life, ready to tell her story on her own terms and cash in on her global fame. But what started as a dream partnership has turned into an absolute nightmare that's threatening to destroy everything she's worked for since leaving the royal family.
Reportedly desperate for new gigs, absolutely anything she can do to make up for the $100 million Netflix deal that's gone. Some are suggesting
even more.
Netflix executives are reportedly furious with the Duchess of Sussex, and sources close to the streaming giant reveal that tensions have been building for months behind closed doors. The woman who promised to deliver compelling content that would rival the biggest names in entertainment has instead become their biggest headache. Industry insiders are whispering about broken promises, impossible demands, and a work ethic that's left even the most patient Hollywood veterans questioning whether they made a massive mistake.
Topic seat next to Whoopi Goldberg if they let her. I think that would ruin her already.
Cracks started showing almost immediately after the ink dried on their lucrative contract. While Meghan painted herself as a creative visionary ready to change the world through storytelling, the reality of working with her has been far different from what Netflix anticipated. Multiple projects have been shelved, budgets have spiraled out of control, and key team members have quietly walked away from productions rather than deal with what they're calling an impossible working environment.
Markle and Prince Harry officially become connected to one word: sucks.
What's even more shocking is how this disaster has been kept under wraps for so long, with both sides desperately trying to maintain the illusion that everything is going according to plan. But that carefully constructed facade is about to crumble, and the fallout is going to be more devastating than anyone could have predicted.
This show, oh my gosh, I couldn't make it through like 2 minutes, guys.
Oh, no.
And Meghan started accepting all these compliments. I know, I'm great.
But the problems with Netflix were just the beginning of Meghan's troubles. Turning point came when Meghan demanded complete creative control over a project that Netflix had already invested millions into developing. Sources within the company reveal that she wanted to fire the entire production team and replace them with her own hand-picked crew, despite having zero experience in television production. When executives pushed back, citing budget constraints and contractual obligations, Meghan reportedly threw what industry veterans are describing as an epic meltdown. Phone calls between her representatives and Netflix became increasingly hostile, with Meghan allegedly threatening to walk away from the entire deal unless her demands were met. What makes this even more outrageous is that she was simultaneously negotiating with competing streaming platforms behind Netflix's back, using their initial investment as leverage to drive up offers elsewhere. The woman who once preached about loyalty and authenticity was playing Hollywood's dirtiest game while maintaining her squeaky clean public image. Netflix executives felt betrayed, realizing they weren't dealing with a collaborative partner but someone who viewed them as nothing more than a stepping stone to bigger opportunities. Internal emails leaked to industry insiders show executives questioning whether they'd made the biggest mistake in the company's history by betting on someone with such little regard for professional relationships. But the real bombshell was still coming. While Netflix executives were dealing with Meghan's impossible demands, another crisis was brewing that would make their contractual nightmare look like child's play. Word had leaked to competing streaming platforms about the internal chaos, and suddenly everyone in Hollywood knew that the Duchess of Sussex was more trouble than she was worth. Amazon Prime and Hulu, who had initially shown interest in poaching her from Netflix, quietly backed away from any potential deals once they heard about her behind-the-scenes behavior. But Meghan wasn't just burning bridges with streaming giants. Production crews who had worked on her early projects started sharing horror stories about her on-set conduct that paint a picture completely opposite to her public persona. Multiple sources describe a pattern of last-minute script changes, unreasonable working hours, and treatment of staff that left seasoned professionals questioning why they ever agreed to work with her. One crew member, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed that Meghan would regularly show up hours late to filming, then demand that everyone stay overtime to make up for lost time. The most damaging revelation came from a former assistant who worked closely with Meghan during the early stages of her Netflix projects. According to this insider, Meghan was obsessed with controlling every aspect of her public image, to the point where she would spend hours analyzing social media comments and plotting revenge against anyone who criticized her work. This wasn't the behavior of a confident creative professional, but someone desperately trying to maintain an illusion that was already falling apart. What made everything worse was that news of these problems was starting to reach the British media, threatening to reignite the very royal controversies Meghan thought she had left behind. And then things took a dark turn. The situation reached its absolute lowest point when leaked audio recordings surfaced from a heated conference call between Meghan and Netflix's top executives. The recordings, which industry sources confirm are authentic, reveal a side of the Duchess that the public has never heard before. Her voice, dripping with entitlement and fury, can be heard demanding that Netflix increase her production budget by an additional $50 million, claiming that anything less would be an insult to her brand and global influence. But the most shocking part of the recording isn't her financial demands. It's how she threatens the executives when they try to explain the company's budget constraints. Meghan allegedly told them that she has dirt on several high-profile Netflix personalities and wouldn't hesitate to use it if they didn't meet her terms. This wasn't negotiation. This was straight-up extortion from someone who had completely lost touch with reality. The audio also captures Meghan making disparaging comments about other celebrities who have successful Netflix deals, claiming that she deserves better treatment because of her royal connections and international appeal. She specifically targets several A-list actors, calling their projects garbage and questioning why they receive more support than her productions. The level of jealousy and bitterness in her voice shocked even the most cynical Hollywood insiders who thought they'd seen everything. What makes these recordings even more damaging is that they were allegedly leaked by someone within Meghan's own inner circle, suggesting that even her closest allies had finally had enough of her toxic behavior. Netflix executives immediately went into damage control mode, but the audio had already been shared with key players throughout the entertainment industry. The royal family's silence on the matter spoke volumes, and everyone knew that Meghan had finally crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. But the real consequences were about to hit harder than anyone expected. Netflix's response was swift and brutal. Within days of the leaked recordings going viral among industry insiders, the streaming giant quietly began distancing themselves from all Meghan-related projects. 3 major productions were indefinitely postponed, and sources reveal that Netflix executives were actively looking for ways to terminate their contract without triggering massive legal penalties. Company's stock actually rose when rumors of the potential split began circulating, showing just how toxic Meghan had become for their brand. The entertainment industry's reaction was equally devastating. Major talent agencies started refusing to represent her, citing concerns about her reputation and work ethic. Directors who had initially expressed interest in collaborating with the Duchess suddenly became unavailable, and even smaller production companies began declining meetings with her representatives. But perhaps the most crushing blow came from an unexpected source: other members of the royal family. Palace insiders leaked that senior royals were deeply embarrassed by Meghan's behavior and were considering taking legal action to prevent her from using her royal titles in future business dealings. The woman who had fought so hard to escape royal constraints was about to lose the very thing that made her valuable in Hollywood. And it gets worse. Chaos surrounding Meghan's Netflix disaster has taken on a life of its own, with new revelations emerging almost daily that paint an even darker picture of her Hollywood ambitions. Just last week, a former Netflix executive went public with claims that Meghan had been secretly recording her own meetings with the company, allegedly planning to use the footage for a future documentary about how Hollywood mistreated her. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the industry, with legal experts calling it a potential violation of numerous confidentiality agreements. What's even more disturbing is that Meghan has reportedly hired a team of private investigators to dig up compromising information about Netflix executives and other celebrities who have spoken out against her. Sources close to the situation describe it as a desperate attempt to rebuild her power through intimidation rather than talent. The woman who once preached about kindness and compassion has allegedly become Hollywood's most feared manipulator. Recent sightings of Meghan at exclusive industry events show a woman who appears increasingly isolated, with former friends and colleagues actively avoiding her. Even her own PR team has reportedly advised her to lay low and consider a complete career pivot, but those close to her say she's refusing to accept that her Hollywood dreams are over. The most shocking development came just days ago when rumors surfaced that she's planning her ultimate revenge. What started as one woman's failed Hollywood venture has exposed something much more sinister about the entertainment industry's willingness to enable toxic behavior when there's money to be made. Meghan's Netflix disaster isn't just about her personal failures. It's revealed how streaming platforms will ignore massive red flags if they think someone can deliver subscribers and global headlines. Industry analysts are now questioning whether other high-profile celebrity deals are built on similarly shaky foundations. The willingness of major corporations to hand out massive contracts to people with zero proven track record has created a culture where entitlement and manipulation can thrive unchecked. Meghan simply took advantage of a system that was already broken. But her downfall has sent a clear message throughout Hollywood that even royal connections can't save someone who burns every bridge they cross. Talent agencies are now implementing stricter vetting processes, and streaming platforms are adding behavioral clauses to celebrity contracts that would have seemed unthinkable just a few years ago. The ripple effects extend far beyond entertainment. Meghan's behavior has damaged the carefully constructed image that she and Harry built around their charitable work and social justice advocacy. Major foundations are quietly distancing themselves from their projects, and speaking engagements that once commanded six-figure fees are suddenly being declined by event organizers who don't want to deal with the controversy. Perhaps most telling is how this scandal has affected public perception of the royal family itself. While many expected the royals to suffer from Meghan's actions, the opposite has happened. Their decision to maintain dignified silence while she self-destructs has actually increased public sympathy for the institution she tried so hard to tear down. The woman who wanted to change Hollywood has instead become a cautionary tale about what happens when ambition isn't matched by talent or professionalism. But the final twist in this story is something nobody saw coming. The Meghan Markle Netflix saga stands as one of Hollywood's most spectacular failures, proving that royal titles and global fame mean nothing without the talent and professionalism to back them up. What began as a promising partnership worth millions has become a cautionary tale about how quickly someone can destroy their own career through toxic behavior and impossible demands. The leaked recordings, behind-the-scenes horror stories, and industry-wide blacklisting reveal a woman who completely misunderstood how Hollywood actually works. While Meghan thought her royal connections would guarantee success, she learned the hard way that even the most patient executives have their limits. Her attempt to manipulate and extort one of the world's biggest streaming platforms didn't just end her Netflix deal, it effectively ended her Hollywood dreams forever. But perhaps the most shocking revelation is how this entire disaster could have been avoided if Meghan had simply approached her entertainment career with the same grace and professionalism she once claimed to represent. Instead, she chose manipulation over collaboration, entitlement over hard work, and threats over talent. The woman who wanted to be Hollywood royalty has become its biggest cautionary tale. The entertainment industry has learned valuable lessons from this debacle, implementing new safeguards to prevent similar situations in the future. Meanwhile, the royal family's dignified silence throughout this chaos has only strengthened public respect for the institution Meghan tried so desperately to damage. As for Meghan herself, sources suggest she's already planning her next move, convinced that everyone else was the problem. But with her reputation in ruins and bridges burned across the entire industry, one has to wonder, who would be willing to take that risk again? The answer might surprise you because according to the latest rumors, Meghan's story is far from over,